chaos.
My mission of life is peace in every home.
Know the greatness of simple and successful living in Islam in Vogue. Next on Peace TV.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back. Just before the break, we were talking about steps in achieving this middle path that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has decreed for us. And I believe probably the first thing is knowledge, having knowledge, and knowing what this path is. How can you achieve something if you do not know what you're going towards, or what does it look like? So having knowledge. And before the break, we're talking with Sheikh Saleem. I believe if I'm taking the right point, it would be gradualism would be the next point in achieving the right. Would you like to elaborate a little bit more on that? Inshallah?
Alhamdulillah. See, first of all, we have to understand the obligations in Islam. The obligation in Islam, they are furud, so that you have to prioritize, and they are sunan. So what is obligatory takes the first priority.
Yeah.
So you need to sort out the priorities, though all are part of the deen. But if you equate all of them and you want to do them all in one go, you'll find difficulty. That's why the youth, they need guidance, and they need someone to tell them, take it easy.
Hold your horses.
Hold your horses. It's a long way. It's a long way to go. That's why Abdullah ibn Amr ibn As radiallahu anhuma, towards the end of his life, said, I wished I had accepted the piece of advice. Because now he's old. Yeah? He couldn't do what he used to do. That's why the other hadith, the one who is beating his horse or his camel, his mount, through the journey, for the camel or the horse to speed up, he will not reach his destination because his mount will collapse.
SubhanAllah.
See?
Animal rights right there.
Yeah, his mount will collapse.
And he has not saved his animal.
And his animal. So that's why Islam, my dear brothers and sisters, okay, the Prophet ﷺ, when he was teaching the Arabi who came and embraced Islam, he taught him the 5 prayers. That's it. He said, and I will enter the Jannah. Yeah. He said, by Allah, I will not.
أفلح إن صدق.
أفلح إن صدق. I will not add any single rak'ah. And the Prophet ﷺ said, indeed, he will be successful if he is telling the truth that he will pray these 5 prayers and not missing them. So the problem that without the knowledge, you don't know how to sort out and how to prioritize and which comes before the other. That's why Shaykh al-Islam ibn Taymiyyah, he mentioned, لا يكون العالم عالما حتى يعرف خير الخيرين وشر الشرين. You will not be considered as a scholar unless you know which deed is more rewardable than the other, good deeds, but which one has more reward than the other, and which evils is less than the other. If you cannot differentiate, you are not alim.
SubhanAllah, this reminds me of a trend that I personally passed through it, and I see a lot of the youngsters pass through it when it comes to religious commitment. When Allah Azza wa Jal guides us in the very beginning, we tend to find those who are newly committed to the religion to be tough, rough, rude, and a lot of the people are agitated and they don't like what they see, and they have all the right not to like what they see, because this is not proper Islam. But if you analyze this, it is like when you're carrying a piece of jewel in your hand and someone says, excuse me, what's the time? Then you think that he wants to take your jewel. So you start to be a little bit aggressive or defensive. And this is due to lack of knowledge. The more you get knowledge and you get to understand the wisdom and how to be wise, the more you tend to loosen your grip, but to put the jewel where it should be put. And this is why when we started to practice Islam at the very beginning, we had our priorities mixed up. So wearing the hijab for a sister is not questionable. This is a fard. But going to extremes in being disrespectful to your mom because she's listening to music, this is totally unacceptable, and your hijab has nothing to do with this. So you have this mixed emotions and wrong priorities. A brother wearing the beard, mashallah, this is mandatory. We have no question in that. But at the same time, he is abusive to his wife. He beats her up. He slanders her, thinking that he's disciplining her. Or he's abusive to his neighbor. Why? He doesn't give salam. Okay, mashallah, you have a long beard or you look like a Muslim. Why don't you give salam to your neighbor? Or I haven't seen them pray. So this doesn't make them kafir. Maybe they pray when you don't see them. Oh, no. Whoever abandons prayer is a kafir. This type of extremism, of jumping the gun, of cascading so many thoughts and building on them judgments is what's killing us. So I am a youth. Let me think. How can I start to do damage? Oh, the Muslim ruler of my country is kafir. Why? Because he has a lot of allegiance to kafir countries. And this means that his ministers are kafirs as well, because they're approving him. And the soldiers are kafir because they're protecting them. And the police force is kafir. And the family of the police force and the children are kafir because they are approving their parents. And the whole society is kafir. So who's left? Me and you. And by the way, your prayer is not that good.
So I'm only
So
Muslim.
I'm the only one
There's
left.
a funny incident that just reminded me right now. One of the sheikhs was telling us that he was personally with one guy entering the haram. And this guy seriously turned to him and says, "Brother, I honestly believe that everyone here except you and I are kafir." And he was like,
So it's not strange.
SubhanAllah.
I feel moderation or being in the middle path is simpler than sometimes what we think.
No.
It's basically to do what Allah has commanded you to do and abstain from what Allah prohibits you from doing. It's very simple. But if you'd like to do the extra, that comes in the next step. That's why you need to take things easily and you have to train yourself. It does take time and effort, and you need the help of others. And don't have these ill thoughts of other people around you, thinking that I'm the best, I can do, more than anyone else. You feel so much this arrogance within you, thinking that you're the best practicing person of Islam, and the others are just nothing.
Judging others.
That's the problem. I think if you limit yourself to doing the obligations first, doing your salah on time in congregation as a man, or as a woman during time, and doing it in the right way, and fulfilling all the other obligations, starting with the pillars of the faith, giving zakah, fasting the month of Ramadan, making hajj if you're able to do so. These are the basics. And then you abstain from prohibitions. You don't involve yourself in riba, in lying, in fornication, all of the terrible things that we are asked to stay away from. I think that you recognize the right path and you're doing it. But if you start mixing up things, as our brothers already said, then you really don't have a campus to go by. Then you're lost. That's why you start to equate sunnah with fard, and you try to, overdo certain things at the expense of other things. But if you are waqaf inda hududillah, you are a person who sees the limits and stops there. That is going to make you, hopefully, the description or the right path of what you need to do. It's just very, very simple. Follow these things and you'll be safe.
Well, we have about 2 minutes, inshallah. Just from a family perspective, people who are watching here, a father, a mother, and so on, maybe grandparents, they say, how can we as a family take some steps towards achieving this middle path, this way that the Prophet ﷺ gave us? Maybe if you can.
I believe that it is essential for the family to have communication. Extremism thrives on lack of communication. When your child is unable to voice his thoughts to you and get guidance, we tend not to listen to our kids. Daddy, I'd like to talk about, they take 50 riyals and go and buy some candies. I don't feel like talking to you. or reprimanding whenever he says something that I feel is not right. Are you crazy? You're kafir? You don't pray Fajr today. Get away from my face. We have a big problem. So we have to start to communicate with our kids. And this is essential. I've met in one Southeastern country I was in recently, and I met two of the takfiris. And they came posing the question where they usually expect the sheikh or the da'i to give them a lecture that we all know of obeying the wali al-amr, of this, of that. Yeah. And I've met so many of them. So I said, by turning the table to them, said, Wallahi, akhi, what you're saying is a good question, but what do you think the answer should be? Can you give me a couple of scenarios? And he refrained. Because he knows that if he talks, he's going to reveal himself.
Expose himself, yeah.
Therefore, we need to listen more than talking, especially to these extremists. Let them talk. Okay, let's see what you have. And then we will try to refute what you're saying. So the family needs this communication. They need a lot of knowledge. They need to be injected with lots and lots of the seerah of the Prophet ﷺ. When we connect our children, our wives, to the seerah of the Prophet ﷺ, then they will be, inshallah, safe.
MashaAllah.
Just quickly, the knowledge is inshallah, the solution, the ilm, to immunize the children, to give them immunity.
Immunization, yes.
So they know, they have brought up that this is the Islam, and what is said is nonsense. They know it.
No, MashaAllah. Jazakumullah khair again. A very beneficial episode, and we hope that you, the audience, benefited from this. We leave you again with the blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and we'll see you on the next episode. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.